Hello, welcome to All About Billings. We are a show dedicated to exploring the great people of Billings who make our city a wonderful place to live and work. We interview entrepreneurs, business owners, community leaders, entertainers, artists, and just cool people around Billings. So that is what we're all about. My name is Nancy Brooke. I'm the host of the show, and I am the broker and owner at Billings Best Real Estate. And today it is my pleasure to have Emily Petroff.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the show. And I'm going to tell a little bit about you, Emily. How would I describe you? You are fun, bubbly, you are empowering. Emily, I've known her for, probably more than a decade. I haven't seen her in person in a while. I always catch up on her Facebook posts. But I want to talk to you today about what you are doing. You've worn many hats through the years as we've gotten to know each other. And you are now the founder and CEO of the Switch Society. Yeah. This is a membership-based clothing swap located in Billings. And I'm going to let Emily tell us all about it. And welcome to the show, Emily.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here,
Yeah.
and just feel honored that you even asked me to be on the show with you, and just for us to be able to catch up too and
it is.
learn a little bit about Switch. So I think one of the most important things that people should know about Switch is that we are a public benefit corporation, and public benefit corporations have a triple bottom line. So we value the people, both inside our organization and outside of our organization, the planet, and profit all equally. So that is like the foundation for what we're building.
Well, and just we were talking a little bit before the show. Now, this kind of corporation is nothing I've ever heard of. So tell us a little bit about how these corporations began and what inspired you to form such a corporation.
Yeah, so the entity structure was created, I think, somewhere around 2013 in the U.S. And in Montana, I think 2018, we became legal to be able to have a public benefit corporation. And so people that have PBCs really believe that businesses should be in place to do good. And how can we do that? And so I think, like, for a lot of social entrepreneurs, we realize that there are things that are plaguing our planet and our communities that are important, and how can we retain ownership of the company and really make sure that we're, forging ahead on that mission, while also making sure that the people that we want to have an impact on are being impacted. So it's sort of like a middle of the road between C Corps and nonprofits. So it kind of gives, allows me to retain ownership of the company while also making sure that we are making a huge impact on the planet and the people that we're serving.
Well, and let's just tell everybody what your company is all about. So Switch Society, and it's related to clothing, obviously, but let's hear how it all works.
So we're a membership-based clothing swap. So I always tell people, like, 80% of the American closet hasn't been worn in the last year. So when we say that, people are like, oh gosh, you just called me out, right? So we encourage people to bring us that 80%, and then we give you points for those items, and then you shop the store with your points. There's no exchange of money for any of the items in the store. The way you gain access to the store is through a monthly or annual membership. So I'm calling it the free fashion revolution. There's nothing out there that I could find that was anything like this. And, it just, when we remove the barrier of money, the way that we participate with our clothing is very different oftentimes than when we have to think about our budget or where would I wear this to, those kinds of things. So I'm really challenging people to, and I tell them all the time when they come to the store, the psychology of shopping here is very different than other places because there's no long-term commitment, there's no guilt, there's no risk. So it's a really fun way to not only take care of the planet, encourage circularity, but also to be able to have a little bit of freedom with your wardrobe.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people are like me. So I have some really nice clothes, but I've started lifting weights, and so like my shoulders are bigger. And so I have these beautiful jackets, wonderful shirts, and they're very tight for me now. And I feel so guilty just getting rid of them. But a shop like yours would allow me to pass it on to somebody else, and then somebody else maybe has something that fits me better. Is that what you're seeing a lot of?
Yes, absolutely. I think a lot of what we see is that And what people don't know is that 60% of what we donate to donation centers and charities often end up in a landfill in a third world country. So we don't know that because it's not resaleable to their end user, whoever that might be. So that's one major problem that we're solving. But the second one is that in that 80% of things that we're not wearing for whatever reason, it doesn't fit, it just wasn't quite right, it's not the right color, I just got it for this one event, whatever the reason might be, those items are often not things that we would normally give to a donation center or to a charity. It's like, I paid a lot of money for that jacket, right? I don't necessarily want to, send it off down the river yet. This switch allows you to get value back for those items that you're not really wearing for whatever reason, and be able to get something that you do love while also not necessarily having to be, attached to that next item either. So you could literally come and get something to wear for a one-time event or wear it a handful of times and then swap it back, and then somebody else can love on it. We call it having access to everyone's closet.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and what about old stuff? So you're mentioning a lot of things get recycled or get thrown out.
Yeah.
So a lot of what you donate. So I have old t-shirts, maybe from races I was in 10 years ago. I feel so guilty just throwing them in the garbage.
Yeah.
And so they're in my dresser, which I don't wear a lot of them anymore. Do we have a place to donate these with your organization?
So we are what you call a zero waste culture. And what that means is that nothing that ever comes to us will ever end up in a landfill. So even items that are ripped, stained, torn, broken, we deconstruct those items and upcycle them into new things. So we make these large reusable laundry bags. My mom and I sew those. We make little jean bags. I was going to bring one and then I forgot to show you. But yeah, we make these little bags, and they have a longer life oftentimes than something that we're wearing.
Sure.
And they're often more used a little bit more. So we're trying to make things that are going to have a longer lifespan, and or just that's what happens to the items that are no longer usable the way they were born.
Well, and that makes me feel really good, because the last thing I want to do is just have things in a landfill, whether it's my clothes or even used household items, which I know you're not dealing with. But those kinds of things, I think a lot of people who have them don't know what to do with them.
Yes, absolutely. So the other thing that's interesting about our model and what we're doing is there's sort of this in-between, and it might be those t-shirts you're talking about. They're not really ready to be deconstructed because they're still good, but maybe they're not something that would be what we would consider swappable, or if they have logos on, some people don't want that, that kind of thing. So we have what we call a family swap, and we do that 3 times a year currently. And the family swap are items that are not ready to be deconstructed, but aren't maybe in top-notch shape.
Sure.
So I'll have people that come that want those things because they're doing yard work, or they're maybe the underserved population in our community. And so we in our first year, we just had our 1-year anniversary. We gave away. It's a free event. We do it 3 times a year. There's men's and children's things there too, which we normally don't carry in store. We gave away 10,114 pieces of clothing in those 3 events that we did in that first year that we were open.
That's amazing.
So we're taking clothing that might normally end up going into a landfill, or that people think isn't good anymore, and we're making sure that it's getting to the people who want it and use it, and will use it.
So what inspired you to start this company? Because, and I've known you for a lot of years, and you've done different things. You've always been inspiring. You've always been empowering. You've always just been an advocate for people. I feel like that's kind of your heart.
Yeah.
But this is something new, and it seems like you've really found your groove with this organization.
It's so wild, Nancy. I could have never sat down and had this unfold the way that it unfolded. So the way that it started was that I'm not a big fan of winter. I love community building and getting together with like-minded people. I love having, a glass of wine and just hanging out and hearing people's stories and learning about them. I had too many things in my closet. So instead of complaining about the winter and, those kinds of things, I was like, create an event where you can, I'd never hosted a clothing exchange before, so I started to research them, and I thought, this is gonna be something that I can look forward to, and I can get together with people that I like, and that kind of thing. So that was in December of 2022, and in January of 2023, I had posted this event on Facebook. there was so much interest that I'm like, I'm never going to be able to host this at my house if even a quarter of these people show up. So I ended up renting meeting space at the Hilton, and we had that weekend. It was the weekend. It was 30 below zero. So we only had 20 women participate, but we collected over 817 items that first weekend. Wow. And I started to research the fashion industry and just clothing exchanges that were being done all over the world and how they were being done and just different, things. And I didn't know what I didn't know about how bad the fashion industry is for our planet and some of these statistics that I'm sharing, right? And so I'm like, well, I am empowering, I'm loud, I'm kind of obnoxious. I can use that voice to be able to help people, be educated like I wasn't educated, so that they have at least they're making a more informed decision, So that was kind of how it got started. And then what happened that weekend that I didn't anticipate to happen is that women came in and said, I'm just always wearing jeans or leggings and hoodies, and like, I don't really feel cute. I've, gained weight, or I've this or that. And you just always look so cute. Would you just dress me? And I was like, heck yes, I will. And so we just spent time putting outfits together for them. And when we remove the barrier of money, the way that we participate with our clothing is very different. So they were willing to try things that they normally wouldn't try, styles and colors and textures. And it just made my heart light up in a way that I didn't know was even possible. And they just had such a great time. And so then it was like, when are you going to do the next one? When is the next one? Oh, and I had started this Facebook group, and people just kept coming into it. And I was like, what the heck? So I was like, oh, yeah, this will just be something fun that I can do, just every once in a while. It just continued to pick up steam. And so then a couple of months later, I was like, could I make a business out of this? One of my backgrounds is that I've done some business coaching. And so I started to research different thrifting models and different things that were out there. And it's just like, how could I create a model that would allow us to have this experience, but also, be something that could be a mechanism for good, not only in our community, but potentially, worldwide someday. And then I just sat back and really had to relinquish control and just sort of let the things come in and not be resistant to it. And now here we are, almost 800 members. And,
wow, 800 people.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a wild, wild ride. I was on a reality TV show. I mean, it's just like all these things have come down the pike over the last year that my life is totally different now than it was a year ago, and I could have never sat down to construct it. And I didn't even know that this was my dream. It literally unfolded in front of my eyes every day as I was walking the path,
And I think that's one thing that is like a miracle in life. When you follow your passion, the world opens up in new and unexplainable ways, and you're connected with the people and the opportunities that can just transform your life into a life you've always dreamed of.
Yeah,
and it sounds like that's exactly what you did.
Spot on, 100%. I could have never, if I tried to make it, it would have not been like this. It was just literally like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. Oh my gosh, I love you so much. Oh my God. And now it's like every day, it's a lot of work. I mean, the amount, we took in over 35,000 items in Q1. It's a lot. And every day I see women just like you that come into the store, and I'm like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. And I get to, it's like I get to hang out with my friends every single day and catch up with them. And it is the absolute best, most rewarding thing that I personally didn't know I was going to get so much out of. And then they're getting so much out of the experience. And then we're also making an impact,
in the world.
Yeah.
With trash. And
Yes.
What a wonderful thing.
Yes.
Well, and so you've been an entrepreneur for a while. You've done a lot of different things since I've known you. I know you've done the business coaching. You were involved in real estate for a while. So what inspired you to be an entrepreneur to begin with? And I will mention that during this time, you were also a single mom.
Yes.
Being an entrepreneur, which that's not for the faint of heart.
Yes. It's really just something that's in my blood. Both of my parents own their own businesses. My I'm a fifth generation entrepreneur, and I can remember being 12, 13 years old and really understanding on a deep level the trials and tribulations that entrepreneurs go through, the things that you celebrate and the things that you just keep you up at night. And so I don't know that there was a whole other path for me than this. Okay. And as a coach, when I have my coaching hat on, I love to be able to empower and support people in creating, being the best version of themselves that they can be, whatever that looks like for them. And then also creating a life that they don't have to take a vacation from all the time necessarily.
So your work is, in a sense, just part of what you love, so you don't feel like, oh, I can't wait for my 2 weeks off.
Absolutely.
That's really, that's really a good measure if you're happy with your work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us about the thing that you've been the most proud of with your business.
Oh my gosh. I think that when I hear women talk about how the content that we create and the way that they are able to participate with their clothing has changed their life, like it seems like something that, how is that possible? Like this isn't really a thrift store, right? Like it is challenging the psychology of how we get dressed every day, and to know that you don't have to be constrained by your budget or lack thereof is transformative in so many ways. And I get to take all of that work that I've done in my coaching life and in the personal growth and development part and apply that to every interaction that I have with every single person. I mean, it truly is just, it's so rewarding.
Oh my gosh. Well, and I know that even the people who are giving of their clothes. So one of my agents, Michelle, is a member, and she said she had a shirt that didn't look right on her. And you had a picture of somebody wearing this shirt on your website. And she said it was so rewarding for her to see somebody enjoy this piece of clothing that it didn't work for her.
And that is something I didn't even, there's been all these little blessings that I didn't know was going to happen. When we started the Facebook group, I had no idea that then women would post pictures of themselves in the things that they got at the swap, and then somebody else would go, oh, I love that you're loving that. That's been sitting in my closet for a year or whatever, So that also has been so wonderful, and the community that we create, right? It is really about being part of a community of women who really believe in what it is that we're doing and want to empower and inspire each other instead of the latter. Yeah.
And what has been something that's been a challenge with starting this business or just being an entrepreneur? What has been the hardest part for you?
I think as an entrepreneur, it feels like you're on an island by yourself a lot. Like nobody, understands the financial challenges that can come with the ups and downs of growing a business, and just how hard it can be. And so, that part I think I hear from a lot of, and why I'm in my coaching business, a lot of the work that I did was with small business owners, because I think they feel like nobody understands what they're going through. Even their spouse sometimes doesn't understand that. As in this particular business, in this industry, I had no idea that we all had so much stuff, right? Like when we say that we have 80% of the American closet hasn't been worn in the last year, we get called out and it's like, oh my gosh, yes. And there's a lot. I mean, we took in over 75,000 items last year and now 35,000 just this first quarter. And I'm like, where are we going to put these things? So that, it has been really looking at, and the labor, the amount of time that it takes to go through and inventory those items, and there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that we don't realize, and it shows me as one tiny person on our planet in a small-ish community. If this is what's happened in the first year of me doing this, no wonder textile waste is a global epidemic, right? I mean, it's a real problem.
And you mentioned just in passing your TV show. So I don't want you to not talk about this because I was just amazed that you were on a TV show. So tell us about that.
So I was on the largest reality TV show for startup businesses in the world. It's called The Blocks. And so last June, I went to Tulsa and filmed all of season 10. And it was a wonderful experience. the people that I met there were amazing. I mean, it was just, it's like a pitch competition, basically. And when I went, we only had 60 members when I went. And so I couldn't compete at the level that I could compete now. And it gave me validation in the things that I was doing, that were going to help us be successful. And it helped me get really real about the things that, like, this is not going to help you move that needle. And so there, at a very early stage in the business, I was able to get into a network of other entrepreneurs from around the country who also understand the trials and tribulations and what it's like. So I have this amazing community of people who are just like me, who want to support each other and help each other. So I get a ton of resources and, just time with them was amazing. And then it allowed me to refine that pitch so instead of messing it up over and over and over again on all of my members that were prospective members, it allowed me to get really clear, really fast, how we explain what it is that we do in a way that's going to help people understand it, because it's so unique and different, rather than, trying to flubber through it over the course of months and then, oh, this is it now. In days, I was able to get that nailed down, which was really cool.
So tell us the name of the show again.
It's called The Blocks, BLOX.
And so it's not on right now, so it aired?
It aired, February 14th, my season aired, and so it's over now. So now I think season 11 is airing. Okay. And yeah, you can find it on their Facebook page. Beta Blocks is their Facebook page. They also have an app. Okay. It's more of like they call it a reality TV show, but I would say that it's more of like edutainment, right? Or like a docu-series, right? It really is educational. It's like a boot camp for entrepreneurs. Right. And yes, although it's a competition and there's a lot of pressure and that really was about learning how to be a better business owner.
Yeah.
And how we can scale.
Well, and I suppose that really just was very educational, being around these other entrepreneurs as well, right? Aside from, do you have like coaches who are evaluating your pitches? Is that kind of how it
there
works?
was a bunch of I think like 8 or 9 different coaches throughout that we spent time with, and yes, they're evaluating on different kinds of criteria and then helping give feedback. These are the things that I think would be helpful for you to do. So it was really valuable in terms of, not only the practice part, but also getting to be one-on-one with some people who've done some really amazing things. And since then, the group that owns the show is a venture capitalist firm out of Kansas City. They have an incubator program for startups, and they do it virtually now. And so I applied a couple of months ago and I got into that. So they'll be helping me on, I get assigned 2 mentors that'll stay with me for the next 2 years. It'll help me test and measure everything that we're doing so that we can look at what expansion would look like in a couple of years. So.
Well, that's exciting.
Yes. So I'm very proud of that. Too.
One door opens the next, opens the next. That's wonderful. Well, what has given you that passion to give back to others? Because it seems like that's your journey. In everything you've done, you've always wanted to help others and help them, I guess, go beyond where they think their limitations are.
For me, I did a lot of work on myself, and I was a victim to a lot of things for a long time. Didn't know it. I was unconscious to that. But when I kind of woke up to that and realized that the people that were asking me the hard questions and putting me on the spot, and they cared a lot about where I was headed, even when I couldn't see it. And so I got so much value from that experience that I wanted to be able to be that for people who wanted that as well, or maybe who didn't know they wanted it, but got a little taste of it and then went, oh, and even though this model doesn't seem like it does that, it really does that. Women that come into the store expecting to like go shopping have this whole other experience, not only with me and with the other women that are there, but also with themselves. And it just gives them they get to see a whole other side of themselves that they didn't see before. And the way that they show up in their lives with themselves, for themselves, and with the people that they love at their job, it's transformational. And so I think, I don't, outside of just that early experience of knowing that like waking up was a big part of my journey, I want to be a mechanism of that for other people, and to be able to hold space for them and to say it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay that you've done these things that, you're maybe not proud of. It's not always about like, I'm great, I've always been great, and I'm always going to be great. Like, I don't know who that person is.
Yeah, me neither.
Right? I mean, so I want to be in the crux of it with people, right? I want to be in the trenches, and I want them to know that they have support and that it's okay, whatever that thing is for you that you feel that you can't share, or that you're, that vulnerability. I want to be a mechanism for women to be able to be vulnerable, and to be, anyone, not just women, but anyone, to be vulnerable and to be authentically themselves. And I think that also is something that I'm really proud of with Switch, is that when you show up there, you get to be who you are. There's no judgment, there's no criticism, there's no, you get to, no matter what you've been told in your life, no matter who, has conditioned you, if that isn't what is, you get to decide that when you walk through the door. And sometimes clothing is a way for us to figure that out.
It makes sense though, because you become a different person with the clothes you put on, right? I mean, you can become more professional, you can become more playful, you can become all dressed up and elegant.
Yes.
It just is all a part of your persona.
Yeah, that
you
energy.
show the world.
And sometimes I think that we've been told, or we think that we can't be this or we can't be that.
Right.
But you can. If you want that, you absolutely can. And you don't have to put those limitations on yourself.
Well, and one thing that I didn't know until we started talking about this interview is that you are basically a lifelong Billings resident.
Yes, born and raised.
So what makes you want to stay in Billings? What do you love about it here?
I love, my family doesn't always love this, but I love that I can be pretty much anywhere in our community and I know someone. It's an easy community. It's like what do we always say, like 2 degrees of separation in Billings, right? Instead of 7 other places. Like you get to know people, and community is really important to me. So, and I'm pretty outgoing, so it's easy for me to meet new people, and I love being able to connect other people too. So when somebody is I love transplants so much, because I then feel like, who do you need to be connected to that I can make sure that can happen? So I love that part too. And I think we're really doing some cool things here. I think we're really trying to, make Billings the best that it can be. And I think every year we get a new vision of, what could what's another little step? What's the next thing? And so I love being a part of that conversation. I love being a mechanism of progression and support and fun and empowerment. So I think all of those things. And I think that would exist no matter where I went. And I think it's a good platform,
Well, Emily, you are truly a Billings treasure. It has been my honor to have you on the show today.
Thank
the time
you.
just flew by so fast.
It does, yes.
And thank you, everybody, for watching today. We hope to see you next time on All About Billings.